pressure from Anish Shetty, following closely behind.
Anish Shetty,
as he comes to the inside of turn 4, taking the lead and taking the charge.
Правый назад, черный каскад. Вижу твой взгляд, стены горят. Мог тебя взять, но ты не моя. Так дайте пацанам посчитать потери.
You know, there's one question that is about, when it comes to podium. Well, this is going to be a very common question that people ask, what do you really feel when you're on the podium and all of that. But my question is going to be a little twisted. So you're like, imagine there's like a finish line and you are just like feet away from the finishing line. Now you know that you're going to get a podium, okay? What is that exact emotions that you're feeling before you cross the finish line? Like, you know you're going to get a podium and you're very close to that. What is really happening to you?
At that point of time, it is just a prayer which is going in my mind that there's nothing should happen to the bike and I shouldn't do anything wrong. I just have to get the bike to the finish line because, in racing, until you get the bike to the finish line, you've still not won, even though, you're leading the race by miles or whatever it is. Until you bring the bike or the car to the finish line, you've actually not won it. And it's very easy to lose focus at that point of time when you're leading the race and do some mistakes, but that mistakes are very, very costly. So it's just a thought that, okay, God, please keep the bike running till the finish line. And also you try to focus yourself, because when you ride slower than your actual pace, you lose focus. Also because you are leading the race and you don't have that pressure to push. So losing that focus will make you do mistakes. So you have to be in that fine line to understand that, okay, I shouldn't be committing any mistakes. As well, the bike has to perform and get it to the finish line. So until you cross that finish line, it's a feeling which is not that great.
Have you ever had experience where, you're very close to the finish line and your bike has just given up? Any instance?
Yeah, in 2017, which was I would say which wasn't a good year at all for me. We struggled a lot in terms of bike setup and all of those things, and we had 10 races in the whole season. First 6 races I had mechanical failure, so the bike pretty much didn't complete the race for 6 whole races. And the 7th race, where I was leading the race and the bikes was all amazing and perfect. I was leading the race into the last lap, into the last corner, and I had a high side and I crashed. I mean, like, I could see that podium right in front of my eyes, and in a snap I just lost it.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was something which I learned that point of time, that okay, until you come to the finish line, I mean, like, boy, just wait for it.
Just wait
Don't
for
do
it.
anything. Yeah.
That's where your prayers start.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a personal question that I'm going to ask you, Anish. It's up to you whether you want to answer it or not, okay?
Yeah.
So, most of the people who come from, not athlete background, and the way they look at athletes, over a certain period of time, you have that name and fame, and, they see a lot of trophies, and they see you have signed a lot of contracts, and you have money and fame, all those materialistic things that you have earned and all that. So people see that you are surrounded with celebrities, you've been surrounded with famous people, you're like hot babes around you and all that. So what people really think is that, his life is great, he's doing amazing, everything is so set for him. This is what the other people are actually seeing.
Absolutely.
But then I think this is just 1% of an athlete's life. The 4% is the athlete's result, and the 95% is that struggle, the adversities, and the circumstances which are not really known to the real people who just see sport as as a sport. So if you have to talk about the reality of an athlete's life, if you have to talk about the reality of your life, what would that be?
See, I would say it's only the glamour which is showcased, and that is what people get to see, and that is what they think that, okay, this is what an athlete's life is like. Few examples, my friends see me, traveling so much, every now and then. So they'd be like, I don't get to travel even once in few months, and every week you are in one state or one country, or you're just traveling around so much. But to be very frank, the travel which they think in their mind and the travel which we have is not the same. They have a travel where zero mental pressure. They're going for a vacation. There's a lot of fun which they're thinking of, and they actually go and enjoy that whole thing. Not that we don't enjoy, but then that journey when you're going to the event is a lot of things which you'll be mentally thinking about. Okay, how is the event going to happen? What? And all of those things. So you're always in that zone. I wouldn't say a pressurized zone as such, but still a zone wherein you are not in your complete senses of okay, I need to enjoy. You really can't, because you have an event coming up which you have been working hard for so many long time. And when we go there, we just go finish the event and come back. We don't get to party or visit the best places in that town or in the country, or all of those things doesn't actually happen. We just go do our event and travel back. And traveling, I would say initially flying and all of those things were good, but when you travel and fly very often, it's very physically taxing. Like
Physical
few
fatigue.
flights. Yeah, when you fly, I recently went in for one of the testing, and that flight one way was 32 hours, which was way too physically taxing, and you're traveling sometimes alone. So it's not what you think. Right? Traveling is like in the same way, that glamour to have girls around, like umbrella girls around and all of those things, and trophies, money, and celebrities and all of those things. That only the what is shown out in your social media handles or by the press or all of those things. But behind the scenes, it is a coin which is flipped around. It's totally different. All you can see is sweat, blood, tears, and efforts and thoughts, and all of those things is what you see. And I would say, a champion is made who fights against all of those things and overcomes those things is what makes a champion. And that's why everyone can't be a champion.
There are few athletes who get dragged away with the materialistic world and they cannot sustain for too long.
Absolutely, and that is what one shouldn't be. One shouldn't get carried away with what they get, that temporary satisfaction which they get out of a few things is something which they shouldn't be carried away with.
Thank you so much, Anish. I wanted to break this myth of people talking about their life is so good and athletes' life is like the glamorous world. That thank you so much for breaking that myth.